What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Goat Shed Sports Podcast. As always, I'm Nick Connect, and alongside me is the man, the myth, the legend, Jacob Bowles. Jacob, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm fantastic now. That was a great intro, Nick. Thank you.
I told you. I told you it was about to be the best one yet.
Wow, I wasn't ready for that. Yeah, that was good. But yeah, today we are going to be getting into the teams that we kind of haven't talked about yet because they have not made the playoffs. They're the last 8 teams. What did you call them again, Nick? What's
The
the title of this episode?
Delete Eight.
Yes.
The Delete
So
8.
the Delete Eight, the ones that didn't make the playoffs and are fighting for lottery picks and hopefully trying to rebound next season.
Spinning
Maybe.
those balls, baby.
Woo, hoping for the best they can do. But yeah, so if you don't, well, yeah, we're gonna go through these teams kind of by order. We're gonna start with the West because there's only 2 teams who didn't make it, and then move on to the East and kind of talk about maybe what these teams are lacking, what they kind of need for next season, and kind of how they need to improve to get to a position where they're gonna make the playoffs. So a lot of good stuff to talk about today. I'm excited.
Oh, me too, brother. As always.
So, Nick, would you like to start off with
Yes,
our first team of the day?
We're going to start it off. We're going to get it out of the way because I feel like with this episode, we kind of want to get into like the young talent and what these teams could be. So we're going to start off with the Warriors because obviously they have the worst record in the league, but come on. We all know next year they're not going to be in this situation, and we kind of want to like stick to what we think these teams need to do to make the playoffs again, when obviously all the Warriors need to do is their 3 superstars not to be injured.
Yeah, to have a healthy season, and they're in a position where they're gonna get a pretty good draft pick for next season. So it's gonna be kind of scary to see
what they do. Because I mean, like, honestly, when like I feel like you owe it to Steph, Draymond, and Clay and what they've built in Golden State to really just keep going for the gusto while they're still in their prime of their career and still can win games. And that's why I really think the Warriors are gonna trade that pick for some veteran help. Whether that I don't know who would be on the market. I don't think it would be some insanely crazy player, but I think they're going to find a way to trade down with that pick and package it for a veteran player like an Iguodala type player that they've always had in the past. That would just make it just that much better for like a win now. Like, let's give Steph and Clay as much help as they can get is while they can still play.
I can totally see something like that happening. I mean, that's very reasonable to think that these teams are going to try, or at least the Warriors are going to try to just keep their tradition. I guess their tradition of what they're known for. I mean, the Splash Brothers, and then Draymond, who's the jack of all trades, who is the backbone. And yeah, like it'll be interesting. Like if they do add that veteran talent, like you said, or if they actually do decide to maybe try to use their pick for something. I mean, it kind of depends maybe what pick they get in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, last year,
Pelicans
Pelicans were like had the best odds to get like the 6th or 7th pick, right? And they ended up with the first.
Yeah, somehow. And then so and there's no really, I guess, like a lot of these players are very good, but there's no standout name like a Zion Williamson or.
Oh yeah, I mean, like when you look at that last draft class, I mean Zion, Ja, Tyler Hero. Who else am I just missing from this class? Brandon Clark, who was a late one, who's going to be a beast. That's a good draft class. It's going to be hard.
I mean, yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of really good guys in this draft class. Like I said, I mean, you got LaMelo. We talked about some of these guys a little bit. So
Tyler Wiseman, LaMelo. Yeah, but it's just like when you look at this class, it doesn't have that standout star power because when you looked at this class, we knew that Zion and Ja were going to be good. That's why they were 1-2 punch. We didn't know. We knew if Zion was healthy, the Pelicans would have been in the playoffs, and they definitely would have been, in my opinion. But we did not. We thought Ja was going to be this fun, ecstatic player, but we did not see him contributing to winning like right off the bat.
No, not leading his.
And then you look at this draft class, and it's not the strongest, but I mean, you know, we've said
still a lot of great talent. Who's gonna? I mean, who knows? Like, maybe one of these guys can pop up and show they've been slept on, and they have been here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Didn't they say like Jason Tatum, Lonzo's draft class? Didn't they say that one wasn't the strongest? Like
Mm-hmm.
Markel Fultz being like the only like crazy player, and then you look at that draft class, and that draft class
And
gave
he's
us
the one who flopped.
Kuzma, it gave us Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, Bam.
I mean, yeah, like that class definitely turned out to be a lot better than it was. So who knows? Maybe Lamelo Ball is going to be a generational talent.
I hope so,
Uh,
man. Oh God, I hope so. I love him. Love him
I
so
like him a
much,
lot.
man.
What if he goes to Cleveland? What if?
I mean, it's just no, dude. They
Possible.
got too many guards though. Like, what would they do with
I know,
Sexton,
but
Garland, and bro? I want to see him go to the Knicks so bad. I want him on the Knicks, bro. Like, I hate the Knicks, and if you like, I don't hate the Knicks. I hate Knicks fans. I
no,
respect
but Lamelo Ball would be the perfect player to be the face of the Knicks.
Lamelo and RJ like leading that team.
I
Because
think it'd just be entertaining to watch.
yeah, exactly. Because like I don't hate the Knicks. I kind of went in on them in the last episode. I just hate Knicks fans, and I just hate their fans. Then it would be really cool if the biggest franchise, second or third biggest franchise in the NBA was relevant. Like, it'd be awesome if it was Lamelo Ball. And
I mean, yeah, they haven't really had an exciting time since Carmelo's been
if
there.
you even
But
want to call Melo exciting times,
yeah, I mean,
and
best they've had in a
made the
while.
playoffs, maybe won a series or two, but never went far. I mean, that's what
Obviously
you get
not.
with LeBron James in the East.
Yeah, they definitely had a bad time.
Yeah, but I mean, shoot, we were talking about the Warriors.
Yeah, but yeah, so we talked about the Warriors. I mean,
Yeah, it's
kinda,
quick and easy. We
not
knew
much to say about them.
just because we know that they're not going to be back in this lottery pool next year.
Yeah,
Like, we
but
know
they
that for
will.
sure.
They will be in the playoffs 100 if they stay
If
healthy.
they're healthy, of course,
Sure.
yes. But I think they definitely will. Clay's had plenty of time to heal from his MCL, ACL, or whatever he tore. And then Steph, I mean, he broke his foot, but Steph wasn't really injured. And I guarantee you, Draymond, whatever injuries that
Broke his
he.
hand. That was what it was.
Yeah, they're both fake.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he obviously didn't need to set up the season with a broken hand,
They're-
but there's nothing he would have done this season to get them in the.
Hey,
Yeah.
but we can't be mad at him because our saving grace, the greatest player of all time, LeBron James, did that last year.
It happens.
But let's get into the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah, we'll go on to another team in the West, eh?
Hey, I mean, dude, I think the Timberwolves could. I
Dude,
mean, you
on
look at the
paper,
West,
they're so good.
and then you just look at the West, and you realize if this Orlando thing didn't happen, then Damian Lillard, like, I mean, God, just, I mean, I think honestly, next year, if the thing is, they have their three best players right now. You could probably say are Cat, D'Lo, and Malik Beasley, all just flashy, fantastic scorers, but all just terrible at defense. That's the big problem with them. For me, it's either they're gonna have to find a way that Cat can play the four and they bring in a defensive anchor at center, or the team will never succeed. Or if Cat just I don't know plays defense,
Develop into some sort of defensive talent. I
'cause
mean,
he needs. I mean, every good championship team, their best player for the most part, or their the third best player, I guess. For the most part, their best player is always the best defensive player. I mean, if you look at the Bulls, I mean, you could make the argument that Rodman was, but it was definitely Jordan. If you look at all the LeBron one teams, it was LeBron. If you look at the first Warriors teams, it was Clay, which second best player. But if you look at their ones after that, it was KD, he's a defensive god. I mean, you need one of your best players to just be able. Kawhi Leonard, obviously, in the Spurs and the Raptors. You need your best player to be this defensive anchor. I mean, you look back at the Lakers, it was Shaq. Like, it can go on and on. And if you look at every championship team, their best player is not an offensive-only player. They're lockdown defenders. So, Cat being his skill set and being how tall he is, if he can just develop even the slightest bit of just defensive tendencies, just think about how crazy that team could be. Because he's a damn near 7-footer, and he is a terrific shooter. And of just a post touch, he can facilitate. I mean, if he can just get down that defensive, just aggressiveness, or even if they don't get that aggressiveness, if he can move more towards a stretch forward, dominant Kevin Love type player, and they bring in like a Serge Ibaka type defensive center, because Serge will probably be looking to sign a 1-year deal next year to just see what he can do, to see if he can get a bigger contract, since going to Toronto, his career was rejuvenated a little.
Yeah.
Just things like that, if they can figure out a way to work Cat with another big, or if Cat could just become that big.
I mean, yeah, as much as you score on someone, you need to be able to play defense. It's
Exactly.
you're not going to win
Especially at
games
the center
relying
position.
on trying to score. Yeah, especially at the center position when other centers are
When
so
you
dominant.
and then you
Uh,
gotta also stop the rim runners from getting in.
mhm. Like a lot, yeah, a lot of these centers nowadays are rim protectors, which is what they is kind of transitioned to. They can shoot from sometimes they can start shooting from threes, which Cat has, but they also need to be able to defend the interior because
Because I
a
mean,
lot of these guys are quick and speedy and getting to the rim fast.
exactly, yeah. And then D'Lo's D'Lo. I don't see D'Lo becoming a good defender. I love D'Lo. I mean, he's just a good shooter. So to go along with D'Lo, they're gonna need to beef up that wing position, and get like a nice wing lockdown defender. But I mean, I could
Mhm.
definitely. The West is very tight. If they were in the East, I would say 100% in the playoffs next year. But just looking like right now, I have the Western Conference pulled up in front of me. Just looking at all the teams in front of them, I don't think they're better than a single team in front of them,
They're just in such a tough
except
position
for the
right now.
Spurs, maybe, because the Spurs are gonna probably have the worst record in the West next year. But I can just see, uh, I can see the Suns being better than them because of Devin Booker's dominance. And I mean, I guess you can say the same thing about the Suns. DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker aren't defensive minded, but the Suns got I think a lot more good young pieces that can become defensive. And then you look at the Sacramento Kings, they got a great team around them. You look at the Pelicans, obviously have a great team. You look at
Young
the
team, yeah.
you look at the Trailblazers, who they were injured. I mean, they're obviously a great team. The Grizzlies, it's going to be exciting to see what they do next year. The Mavericks, you got to think are going to be in the playoffs next year. The Rockets, you got to think are going to be in the playoffs next year. The Thunder, maybe, depending on what happens with Chris Paul. The Jazz, maybe, depending on what happens with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert's relationship. But for the most part, you look at these top 7 seeds, and they're almost all locks for the playoffs next year, you would think. So then you look through that like 8 through 13 seed, and you're like, oh my god, who's gonna get it? Like when you go into the West, I mean the East, it's not like that. The West is just, dude, it's the Wild West. Like it's the Wild Wild West.
Yeah, and I mean it's already tight as it is between like the second and the 7 seeds, 4 game difference.
Mm-hmm.
So any of those guys can switch. So these guys, it's going to be every game's going to matter next season, and all these guys are going to have very tough going to try to make it the playoffs. And the Timberwolves have no exception there.
Exactly. But I mean, I can see Cat becoming an MVP, so that's why it's just like I don't know. I think it all relies on if because Cat's obviously an all-star, but if he can take his game to that next level, to that Kevin Garnett level of Timberwolf dominance, and carry a Timberwolves team through the playoffs, then I can see them getting in with like probably like a 5 through 8 seed. But I think it all just depends on how Cat comes out this next season.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So yeah, I guess that kind of concludes the West. It's gonna like we said, it's gonna be a really tough go about things, and unless really things shake up a lot in the free agency, it is like looking like kind of
Mm-hmm.
a fight for the 7th, 8th seed right now.
Exactly, it's gonna be wild.
So I guess we'll move on then to the number 10 seed in the Eastern Conference, the Charlotte Hornets, who were close. I guess they were a game behind the Wizards, so they're technically knocked out anyway.
But they were close to that Orlando crisp, and
They were close to the Orlando berth, so maybe.
I mean, the way I see it, I don't want to dog on Charlotte. Charlotte won't be in the playoffs next year. I mean, Devontae Graham had a great season, but what free agents are going to come to Charlotte? You have to build and build and build this team from the draft and getting veteran players. And it's like if you look back in like the last like 15 years of like Charlotte basketball, and their best players have been Kemba and Al Jefferson. Kemba they drafted. Al Jefferson they traded because he was a decent center and he became that all-star type player that 1 year under them. And it's like you're not gonna get a free agent. And I mean they have Devontae Graham, which I think was an exciting young player, but he's already like 26. I would assume that this is his peak. That's just me. Michael Jordan can't run a team. I mean, I guess it's hard because no one wants to go play for the Charlotte Hornets, obviously. But I mean, you had Kemba for how long, and you couldn't put a winning team around him?
You can't build anything around him. You just let him sit and lose. I mean, yeah, he never won a single game against LeBron. So I mean, like,
Did he break it at least this year at some point?
I think he did on the Celtics. I think the Celtics finally beat him for the first time.
Obviously, we have already talked about the Celtics, but
Or
dude,
not Kemba.
we've
Yeah.
talked about the Celtics already, bro. But bro, I love Kemba.
Kemba, like, he definitely deserved way better than what he had.
Bro, he has the most points in franchise history for that team, and they couldn't get a winning team around him once.
Yeah, he was there for quite a while. I mean, it was only right that he got out of there, right? Perfect time. And he leads his own successful team now in the Boston Celtics, who are looking very good. And we talked about that last episode, how we kind of think they're one of the, if not the
Premier
top.
teams.
So, yeah.
So I mean,
yeah, in total, Charlotte Hornets.
I just think there's a lot more
not
team. I think there's just more teams in the East that excite me for the future than the Hornets. I think the Hornets will be playing for lottery balls again next year.
They just need more time. That's all they need. There's not much they can do.
Mm-hmm. So the next team we got is the Chicago Bulls, and a team that I think once Jim Boylan is out of there, because God, I mean, he's just, I mean, not only is he just, but like you've just watched him this year in his timeouts and his time management, but Zach LaVine, there's been so many clips of him like in games, like talking to himself, like what is this, like just talking to him. Lauri Markkanen, you know, he's from Finland. He was on a Finnish podcast, and it was all in Finnish, but I mean, I saw some rough translations of it, and basically what he said was, last year I went from getting 80 touches a game to getting 40 touches a game this year, and he was like, and I'm getting 40 touches all off defensive rebounds. So he's basically saying, you know, he doesn't like how he's running the offense.
Lauri's a good player. Like, I mean, he should definitely be getting.
If you looked at his last year, he was we were watching him last year and we're like, this guy's going to be insane. And then he took a dip this year. And I think it's 100% because of coaching.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
And I think, I mean, Zach LaVine, obviously a stud. I mean, I think play your cards just a little bit different. I think he had an argument to be in the All-Star game and the slam dunk competition. He was obviously in the three-point competition. I mean, I don't know. I think out of all these teams right now in the East, if I had to pick one to be like the next playoff team to like take down the Magic or whatever teams are floating down there because of injury, I think it's the Bulls, because if you look how their roster's constructed, if they do keep everyone, they have Zach LaVine, who is a stud, obviously. Lauri Markkanen, that I'm just hoping under a new coach will go back to that
he can shine,
elite player. Kobe White, although he shot terrible this whole season, he had some iconic moments at the end, breaking Jordan rookie records. And then you look at Wendell Carter Jr., who's obviously been injured most of the season, who was all rookie first team last year or 2 years ago, whenever he was a rookie. And then you look, they got Thaddeus Young, Otto Porter, Thomas Satoransky. They got good veterans along. Denzel Valentine, who terrorized Ohio State for a while at Michigan State. They got the pieces, and I think Zach LaVine, honestly, I mean, it's going to come back when we talk about the Hawks. I think right now I would just rather have the Bulls and the Hawks from a defensive standpoint, and they're more progressed than the Hawks. I think we'll get to the Hawks, obviously, so I'll just stop for now. But I think, and Mike, because we just wanted to talk about what we thought these teams were, I think the Bulls will be in the playoffs next year over the Magic.
I could see that. I could see them definitely coming together. Just another year of chemistry. I mean, they definitely
coaching and then just being happy.
They started in. Oh yeah, like once they get the new coaching in and they actually start liking their system, and that's just gonna throw up your whole kind of rhythm and whole viewpoint of the season.
Kind of like signing Kyrie Irving to your team.
Yeah, you're doomed from the start. There's not much you can do about it.
Man, all right, talk about doom from the start. Let's talk about the New York Knicks. Man, like, when are the Knicks gonna? Man, because I feel like every year we talk about, oh my God, the Knicks are gonna sign these people, and then they end up signing Julius Randle as their biggest signing.
I mean, yeah, they always don't get. They could have had the first draft pick. They probably deserved it last year, but it fell to the second pick where they got R.J. Barrett. Which, I mean, I guess third. You're right. Second went John Morant. Yeah. My mistake. Yeah, R.J. Barrett, who, I mean, I guess is a decent consolation prize.
I mean, yeah, he started off like shooting pretty poorly, but I mean, he turned his rookie season around. I mean, he was about 14 points a game, 5 rebounds. Like he still did decent. He had a good rookie season. Then you look, I mean, I think Mitchell Robinson is a beast. He's such a good defensive piece. I mean, you look at Kevin Knox, who probably would be a good bench player. Frank Ntilikina, will he ever become something? Maybe. I don't know.
Julius Randle is actually
Yeah, for the good thing that the Knicks did because they signed a bunch of power forwards and small forwards this season. The good thing is they signed a lot of them to 1 to 2 year deals, and most of them, like I don't know about Julius Randle, but I know like Bobby Portis, Wayne Ellington, and Alfred Payton, I believe, all have team options, so they don't have to re-sign those guys. So that's good. They can this year hopefully get like a LaMelo Ball type player. Then maybe
if they can draft LaMelo, like you said.
And then they find maybe 1 or 2 more veterans to complement their team.
I guarantee if they sign LaMelo,
they could flirt with
I think
seed. They could flirt with that 8th seed.
I think some people will think about it. Will think about coming.
It would be interesting because as we saw in this Australian league for LaMelo, he became a pass-first player, and it'd be interesting to see like what that playmaking that LaMelo has could do for RJ. But the thing is, RJ's a ball-dominant player, always has been, so if RJ could learn just to be this great off-ball guard, and LaMelo and RJ could maybe do something, Mitchell Robinson, just get him his touches and just let him rim run, let him play defense. They could be flirting with the 8th seed. I don't know. It's the Knicks. They could. I don't know. They could be flirting with the 8th seed. They could be the worst team in the league again. I just don't know.
That's the thing. They go straight from fighting for an 8th seed to the 15th. Like there's no in between. It's
the Knicks, baby.
It's just the Knicks. You can't. There's no other way to explain it.
Honestly, dude, there really isn't.
Poor guys. Anyway, we will move on then to the Detroit Pistons, who not looking so good either. Not looking too hot. I mean, they obviously just traded Andre Drummond away.
Yeah.
To the Lakers.
For nothing, really. I mean, the Pistons, obviously, they got Blake Griffin and D Rose, but it's like...
D Rose.
I mean, they have one...
Blake Griffin's definitely been expanding his game. He shows that he's more than just a dunk first player anymore.
It's really interesting for me to see what Sekou Doumbouya. I normally look up before we do stuff where I know I'm gonna have to pronounce a name I can't pronounce. I normally look it up and I forgot. He's their most exciting young player, and he's been pretty good. I mean, Christian Wood was also exciting.
Young Luke Kennard?
No, I mean no. I'm not gonna say no. He had a pretty good year this year. I'm not gonna say no. I mean, I don't see the Pistons making the playoffs next year. I don't know. Because they could make the playoffs. If they choose to keep Derrick Rose, and Derrick Rose plays good again, and Blake Griffin plays good, and then these young players play well, then they can maybe flirt with the 8th seed again, but I don't see them as a lock. I don't see them as a lock.
Because, I mean, the Detroit Pistons finished 10 wins behind the 8th seed Orlando Magic, which is a pretty big, it's a pretty substantial.
It's a huge margin.
Difference, so they definitely have a lot to kind of change about next year if they do get a player like LaMelo who can maybe change things around or somehow sign a free agent. They need a lot right now to kind of get back to their former glory, and once they start doing it, they're such an attractive market that it's just going to steamroll. So they just need to get it started. That's pretty much.
I mean, because I see them as possibly flirting with the 8th seed. Like for me, like right now, I see the Bulls as probably I want to say probably a lock for the playoffs, but then I also I don't want to disrespect
the Nets are gonna come back.
Exactly. I don't want to disrespect the Hawks because I was gonna want to say the Hawks are also a lock. I think both of them will be in the playoffs next year, but I think it's only gonna be one of them because the Pacers are going to be in the playoffs next year. The Nets are going to be in the playoffs. The Sixers will be in the playoffs. The Heat are going to be in the playoffs. Boston will be in the playoffs. Toronto is going to be in the playoffs. Milwaukee is going to be in the playoffs. I feel like even in the East, it's going to be all these teams. And, and the Wizards are in the playoffs. We obviously haven't talked about them, but it's going to be Bradley Beal and John Wall back together. Man, I don't know. The Bulls are going to be flirting with the 8th seed. I lied. They're not a lock. Every team's flirting with the 8th seed in the East.
It's going to be such a good fight.
It's going to be such a good fight to Giannis Antetokounmpo as a member of the Miami Heat. It just doesn't matter anymore.
Oh, man.
But I mean, the Pistons.
Bradley Beal's going to the Lakers anyway next year, so that's the 8th seed right there for anyone.
He's hey, that'd be dope. That'd be dope. Heat Lakers every year for the next 5 years, please.
I wouldn't mind. That'd be pretty cool.
Let's get into the Hawks here. I mean, they're obviously very young and exciting because you look at their young players. They got Cam Reddish, they got Kevin Herter, they got DeAndre Hunter, they got John Collins, Clint Capella, and yet Trae Young. So
yes,
I mean, they all
can't forget about.
It's just my big thing is Trae Young is already blossomed. He's already a superstar in this league. It's going to be if John Collins, because he averaged like 20 points a game this year, if John Collins can take a bigger leap, but I think the big thing is Kevin Herter or
They have Jeff Teague too.
yeah, Jeff Teague and Vince Carter, obviously, and Dwayne Dedmon, all great.
Vince Carter's gone, yeah.
Oh, Vince! Oh,
He retired.
no, Vince. Yeah, well, so Dwayne Dedmon and Jeff T, great veteran role players. But my big thing is because we already know Trae is going to bring it next year. John Collins will be a good to decent player. My big thing is I think Kevin Herter or DeAndre Hunter have to take not a significant. Okay, I think because they're both 3-and-D players through defensive wings, and I feel like with this team, with Trae Young probably being the new Isaiah Thomas of the league, like the bona fide worst defensive good player, that one of those two, if not both of them, need to take a leap in their game where they become like that Tony Allen-esque player.
Okay. Yeah. Just that very solid role player.
Yeah, the pair next to him, just like Steph and Clay. Obviously, I don't think DeAndre Hunter or Kevin Herter are going to become Clay. But if you look at the Warriors games, if you look at Steph guards the worst player out of the point guard and the shooting guard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Clay always takes the advantage.
Like if you're playing against the Cavs back in those times, Steph's guarding J.R. Smith while Clay's guarding Kyrie. But if you play against I'm trying to think of a team from those times. Who's a team that has a really... If they're playing the Rockets from, like, those times.
Shooting,
James
Harden.
Before Chris Paul or Russell Westbrook were there, it was Clay's guarding the normal shooting guard and Steph Curry's guarding, I don't know, like DJ Augustine or whatever. Freaking... I don't think DJ Augustine was ever on the Rockets. I just... Can't think of a time that there was a point guard on the Rockets because it was always the James Harden show. Austin Rivers! Steph was guarding Austin Rivers. He played there for a little bit.
You're right.
Yeah, that's what I'm just... Their offensive game doesn't necessarily have to get there because I think between Clint Capella, John Collins, and Trae, they'll have the offense covered. But I think Kevin Herter or DeAndre Ayton, because I don't think Cam Reddish is going to be that defensive-minded. Like I think because DeAndre Hunter was drafted because of his defense, and Kevin Herter is another good defender. So I think one of those two needs just to be able to become that lockdown wing so he can take that matchup so Trae doesn't.
Yes, I mean, I hope the Hawks develop Trae Young. I mean, not develop. They are developing. I meant like build around him and then kind of this is their player. This is their time to revitalize this team and kind of
bring it back to that Dominique Wilkins glory.
Bring it back and try to do something. The East is the ripe time to do it, and next year I think
LeBron-less is what you're trying to say.
Yes, that's another way to put it, but I think they can do it. And then speaking of LeBron, I guess.
Wait, I gotta say a message to the Hawk fans. Hey, I know for you Hawk fans that follow the TikTok that could be here, I know we've been quarreling in the comments because I put John Collins as a decent player. I think he has potential to be a very good player. I think right now, because of last season where he missed a lot of games and the fact that the Hawks suck, that I put him in a decent player. Get over it. I think you guys are going to be a good team in a couple years, so relax. Let's talk about a team that's not going to be good in a couple years, the Cleveland Cavaliers, because they're just horrible.
Cavaliers are, yeah. I mean, throughout the last decade or two, every time they've not had a man named LeBron James on their roster, they've not performed very well, I'd have to say.
Jacob, do I have to say anything more besides they are starting two ball-dominant point guards? They don't have an actual small forward, and their team is just filled heavily with bigs.
Oh my gosh, it's a mess right now.
At least they have Dean Wade, the white Dwayne Wade.
They have Chetty Osman.
Chetty, bro, Chetty, dude, Chetty had so much hope. He signed that big contract extension. It was,
I like Chetty. I always like
I
Chetty.
mean, yeah, I do. I watched him drop like
I just,
I watched him drop like 23, I believe. When me and our buddy Nate, we went to Dwayne Wade's last game in Cleveland. Chetty Osman and Justice Winslow were dueling. Justice had 27, and I believe Chetty had 23. It's kind of cool.
that's a pretty good game.
But I mean, I guess they have Andre Drummond for one more year. With that $27 million contract.
I guess two decent bigs and Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond's pretty good, and then Tristan Thompson as well.
K-Love.
And then also K Love, yes.
And Larry Nance, like I said, they're so and Zizic is not bad either. They're just so heavy on bigs, and then they just don't have a really. I mean, Kevin Porter, I think, is the most exciting and gonna be, dude. If you've watched Kevin Porter play, he was very inconsistent because he just didn't get the playing time. But dude, I watched him drop like 30 something on the Heat, bro, and he looked like a superstar. Like he is flashy, and dude. I think out of everyone on that team, I'm most excited for Kevin Porter, and I hope he becomes the starting small forward next year, which would be kind of funny because they would be running a point guard, and a shooting guard that are all like the same height and all ball dominant. But I think Kevin Porter is better than Darius Garland and Colin Sexton. So I think, and I don't know, I think Darius Garland's also really sweet. I just don't like Colin Sexton. Man, how can you call yourself a point guard? How can you call it? Let me click some buttons here. How do you call yourself a point guard and average 3 assists a game? A starting point guard and average 3 assists. Like I bet Kevin Love averaged more. Let's see. Kevin Love averages more. The Cavs, man, Cleveland, terrible market. You drafted LeBron James and Kyrie Irving. That was great on your guys' part. Try to do it again because you're not going to get another signing ever again.
It's going to be so hard to get a good another draft pick like that.
Because you're going to always draft the Anthony Bennett's of the world.
It's just the Cavalier thing. They get one lucky break with.
Hey, but
and then
they got a ring that's better than a lot of the teams in the East.
I think they'll take that. We'll take that for sure.
So I mean, obviously we don't got to go too much in on the Cavs. I mean, they got fun, exciting young players. So Cavs fans, because we are in Ohio, so we probably got, if people listening, a decent chance of their Cavs fan. You got exciting young players. In 8 years, when you're maybe fighting for an 8th seed, it's gonna be a ride. But the East is getting tighter. I mean, we already broke it down because you're not going to be better than the Hawks or the Bulls. You're not going to be better than any of the teams in the playoffs now. You're not going to be better than the Wizards. I think the Knicks have a better chance of being better than you. Cleveland, you had LeBron and you enjoyed it, but not everyone can prosper like Miami after LeBron. Just kidding. We've won one playoff series against the Hornets.
Hey Nick, yet.
Yes. Hey, we beat the Hornets, baby.
Woo!
And then we lost to the frickin' Sixers twice.
Yeah.
Hate those guys.
Yeah, well, good thing
Bam Adebayo is about to frickin' hopefully the Pacers in the body bag. I don't want to play the Sixers, but
I don't know. The Sixers are tied with the Pacers right now. So
I know, bro, but it's fine because, I'm more scared of the Sixers, but we can beat them. I think we can beat anybody but the Celtics. So someone else beats the Celtics, and I'll feel a lot better about myself.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm just so excited for this.
Oh, bro, I can't. Man, I'm getting kind of worried because Orange County, where Disney World is, since they've been reopening everything, coronavirus cases have gone up 14%, and I swear to God, if it's possible that can be
messed up with.
But hey, safety's obviously first. Did you see the smart rings?
I did. I saw that Kuzma did not approve of them.
Dude, shut up. Bro, they're gonna be rings that it's safety. I mean, I don't reckon they got a tracker device in them, but if they do, I mean, don't leave the freaking campus.
I mean, yeah, it's.
If not, what are they gonna do? Track you in Disney World?
Yeah, what are they gonna do? Just walk around and follow you, whatever you're doing? I don't know.
What kind of? Because I didn't get deep into the article. I read the first couple paragraphs, but what kind of freaking technology is in that thing that it can detect symptoms within 3 days?
I think it's like 3 days faster or
Like,
something like
is
that.
it just like taking like the temperature
It
of
takes, like,
your skin?
yeah, it just takes your temperature and stuff like that, and it kind of, I don't know what else it measures, but I definitely know it just kind of
Like maybe like some kind of blood pressure thing that relates to
blood
the
pressure,
virus.
kind of like a pulse
A
thing, maybe.
pulse, maybe. I mean, blood flow with your breathing. Maybe it could detect. Man, we get
Hey,
into
crazy
some borderline
those
science on
guys.
this podcast.
Hey, those science guys, those are a lot smarter than.
Bill Nye, the science guy. Bill.
Yeah, that's why they get the big bucks too.
That's why they get the big bucks and we don't. Yet, till we're
Yes.
fucking ESPN's next big podcast. Shoot.
Oh man, one day. All right. Well, is there anything else in the world of sports that you would like to share with our wonderful viewers or listeners? I guess.
Premier League has made its successful return. Watched a game today. It was great to watch freaking sports. It felt great. So go football. Go Arsenal, and go Chelsea, because that's me and Jacob's teams.
I'm a Chelsea fan.
But yeah, it was good to. I guess just talk about it. It was good to watch sports. It felt nice. Obviously it's no basketball. It's no like American sports that like I'm invested, because I've just started watching soccer football before the lockout, so I'm not invested into the league like I am with the NFL and the NBA. So it's not the same, but it's sports nevertheless, and it was nice and refreshing, and it's just getting me prepared for freaking NBA basketball, baby.
One day, we're one day closer to Tom.
One day closer. Oh, I can't wait. Like Jacob Bulls, if everything does go to plan, you best believe July 30th, you are over in this barn, and we are watching basketball, baby.
I will stay over. We will watch. We'll have a good time.
We'll watch as many games as they play that day, and we'll.
Every single game that's going to be on.
Man, I guess this is another little sidebar, because it could be just a fun little tidbit to have. I was talking to Jamie about when basketball happened. I was like, listen, I hope you know I'm scheduling my life around Miami Heat playoff basketball. So if there's a Miami Heat game going on and you want to hang out, you're coming to me and you're watching Heat with me. I was like, listen, this is the Heat's best chance of doing anything since LeBron. When I say I'm scheduling my life, I told her, you know, I can miss other teams' games. I'll watch highlights. I'll be okay. But when I said I am scheduling my life around Miami Heat games, I meant it. I'm so excited.
I mean, I'm gonna watch every single Laker game.
I might also schedule my life around Lakers games, because
I will be watching probably every single Pelican game along with Cameron. And if they end up making the 8th seed, they will have to play the Lakers.
You'll get to watch 5 games with Cameron, because they'll win.
Yeah,
They'll win.
I
take it back. You're gonna get to watch 4 games. Jesus, they're gonna.
I said the Lakers are gonna play. What was it? 24 games this this postseason. That's all they're playing. They're playing the 8-game regular season. And they're sweeping every team. They're playing 16 games in the playoffs.
No.
Yes.
7 games in the Western Conference Finals, Jacob. They're not sweeping the freaking Clippers. Bro, I don't even think they're capable of sweeping. Like, let's look at some second round matchups. If everything stayed, Lakers obviously win. So then they play. They play what, the 4 and the 5. I don't think they're capable of sweeping Utah or Oklahoma. I think Chris Paul could squeeze a game out. And I think Donovan Mitchell could squeeze a game out.
I think they have a better chance of sweeping the Thunder than they do the Jazz.
I don't think so. Well, no,
I don't know. For some reason, I feel like the Jazz
I feel like the Jazz have terrible chemistry right now, and they just don't know. They lost Bojan as well. They lost him. And dude, the Thunder just got this chemistry, and I feel like Chris Paul's got a 40-point game up his sleeve, Jacob Bulls.
Ooh, that's bold.
Ooh. God, basketball. We got to stop before this is like a 7-hour podcast, because we're not even talking about the terrible teams anymore. We're just getting excited for playoffs again. That was the last 2 pods.
Well, I guess I'll hit them on the outro then.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you guys for listening as always. Had a great episode. Fun to talk about these teams who are still working on it. We'll see you next year. Hopefully, maybe our predictions will be right. We'll have to kind of keep a track on this. And as always, we'll see you guys again next Sunday.
Boy.
Bye.